He used to believe that some people were born whole and some people were born broken, and he always thought he belonged to the second group. He walked through life carrying a heaviness he could never fully explain, a weight that pressed on his voice, his heart, his steps. He would wake up every morning hoping the feeling had disappeared overnight, that maybe today would feel different, lighter, easier. But every sunrise brought the same quiet ache, the same emptiness he tried so hard to fill. For years, he convinced himself that this was just how he was built. Some people were strong. Some people were brave. Some people moved through life like the world couldn't bend them. But he wasn't like them. He was someone who felt every disappointment too deeply, who remembered every harsh word long after it was spoken, who replayed every moment where he wasn't enough. He thought the problem was him. He thought he was the reason people left. He thought he was the reason things never lasted. He thought he was broken. The world had tried to tell him this in small and subtle ways. Lovers who said he was too emotional. Friends who drifted away when he needed them most. Family members who told him to stop being sensitive as if sensitivity was a flaw he should hide. He got so used to being misunderstood that he eventually stopped trying to explain how he felt at all. Silence became easier than honesty. Numbness became safer than vulnerability. He never realized that the pieces he was trying to hide were the exact ones the right people would one day love. But he hadn't met those people yet. He had only met the ones who taught him what pain felt like. And like all stories shaped by pain, his life changed in quiet ways long before he noticed. It started on an ordinary afternoon. He sat alone in his room, scrolling through the pictures on his phone, memories of moments that had once felt permanent. He paused on a photo of her, the girl he thought would never leave. She had a smile that made him believe he finally belonged somewhere. She had a voice that sounded like healing. She had a way of looking at him that made him feel seen. But she left too. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. She just slowly became someone he no longer recognized. Conversations got shorter. Calls became rare. The warmth faded first, then the attention, then the effort, and finally, the love. It was breathtaking how quietly love could die. The day she walked away, he didn't cry. He couldn't. He felt everything and nothing at the same time. He told himself it wasn't her fault. He told himself it wasn't his fault. But deep inside, he whispered the same lie he had believed his whole life. I wasn't enough. He spent months trying to understand what went wrong. He went through every message, every moment, every memory looking for signs he should have seen earlier. Nights were the worst. Nights made reflection unavoidable. Nights made loneliness louder. Sometimes he wondered if he would ever be okay again. Sometimes he wondered if maybe some people weren't meant for happiness. Maybe some hearts were built to break so others could learn. Maybe he was one of those hearts. That thought lived in him for a long time. Until one day something unexpected happened. He met someone he wasn't looking for. Someone soft. Someone calm. Someone whose kindness didn't come with conditions. She didn't arrive like a storm or a miracle. She just appeared in a moment where he wasn't trying to impress anyone. She looked at him with gentle curiosity, as if she could sense the silent battle inside him. She listened to him without rushing his sentences. She didn't flinch when he spoke about the parts of himself he hid from the world. She didn't run when he talked about his fears. She didn't judge him for the wounds he still carried. Her presence didn't fix him. But it made him realize he didn't need fixing. For the first time, he felt safe enough to breathe. She once told him something he would never forget. Sometimes life breaks you because that's the only way it can rebuild you into someone stronger. He didn't believe her at first. Strength wasn't something he recognized in himself. But she saw it in him long before he did. Slowly, he began to heal. Not all at once. Not dramatically. But quietly. Healing, he discovered, wasn't a sunrise. It was a slow dawn, a soft light that appeared one day when you least expected it. He started realizing that the people who left weren't meant to stay. They were chapters, not endings. Lessons, not lifetimes. They were mirrors that showed him the parts of himself he needed to confront. They weren't there to break him. They were there to prepare him. Every heartbreak made him gentler. Every disappointment made him wiser. Every loss made him stronger. He realized something else too. He wasn't broken. He was growing. Pain didn't destroy him. Pain shaped him. And life, in its strange and unpredictable ways, had been carrying him toward a version of himself he never imagined he could be. He began to understand that some people leave so better ones can arrive. Some doors close so new ones can open. Some endings happen so life can rewrite your story. He learned to forgive himself. Forgive the people who hurt him. Forgive the moments that didn't go the way he hoped. He stopped asking why things happened to him and started asking what they were trying to teach him. He stopped chasing people who made him feel unworthy and started choosing people who made him feel at home. He stopped fighting his emotions and finally allowed himself to feel them. The world looked different when he changed the way he carried his scars. One evening, as he sat with her, the one who stayed, the one who understood, the one who never asked him to be anything but himself, he suddenly realized he wasn't the same person anymore. He wasn't afraid of being left. He wasn't afraid of not being enough. He wasn't afraid of loving again. He looked at her and whispered, almost without thinking, "I really thought I was broken." She smiled softly and touched his hand. "You were never broken," she said. "You were just becoming." And in that moment, he understood what his entire life had been trying to tell him. Maybe the struggle wasn't a sign of weakness. Maybe the pain wasn't punishment. Maybe the heartbreaks weren't failures. Maybe everything had to fall apart so he could finally rise. He wasn't broken. He was healing. And healing, he realized, was the most beautiful form of becoming.